Hi, I'm Eleanor and today I will take you through the Dozens app. I'll be doing this on a desktop demo so you can see what I'm doing. So when we first started designing the Dozens app, there was a lot of thought that's gone into the information architecture. Because as part of our mission, we're looking to take people on a journey from being a spender to a saver to an investor. And that journey is sort of reflected on the bottom navigation of the app and each individual section. So it breaks down into spend, track, which is basically your smart budgeter, Dozens Home, which you can see currently, and save and invest. So if we start with the spend section of the app, this is basically your current account. So this is where you can see your transactions, where you can do top-ups and payments. If we look at an individual transaction, you can not only see the amount, but also where you've spent it and what the merchant was, and you can also split the transaction with your friends. But the cool thing here is that you can not only see your transactions as a list, but also in a visual way. And there's a lot of design thinking that's gone into this to make sure that you can not only see what you've spent, but where you've spent and how you've spent, so you get a really good sense. So you can see sort of your movements throughout the month, what's come in, what's going out, your top categories, your top retailers, so someone's had a good month at KFC, but also how you felt, so you can rate each single transaction as happy or unhappy spend to get a better sense of where you can, where maybe you shouldn't be spending. You can also see your transactions on a map, so maybe if you have a really high spend on Shoreditch on Friday night, maybe that's an area you want to avoid. You can see the average amounts, and then you can also see your spending heat map, which is quite cool, so you can see whether you tend to overspend mornings, afternoons, or evenings. And that's basically your current account. So if we move over to track, this is probably where the most effort's gone into in terms of design thinking and functionality wise, because there's a lot of fintech apps that give you a really good sense of analytics of, again, what and how you've spent yesterday. But what most of us might need more is a sense of how much we've got left to spend today and tomorrow. So if you set up your budgeter, the way you do this is you start with just saying when your financial month starts. For most of us, that's when our salary comes in. And then you can start adding your personal financial points. So like your salary, you can add your payer. So that could be a payee, your employer or someone else. Let's say this is John or the bank. And then you can also set up your main monthly expenses. So the ones that most of us know top of mind is rent or a mortgage payment. So if we set this up, we can tie that to a category. Once we've set that up, let's say we also want to set up bills. If we want to go and add one more expense, let's say that's car, because we know that I'm spending a lot on my car every month. I can also add individual retailers, so that if I know every time I spend at Shell and Tesco that's going towards my car, I can set that up. And then I've got my full monthly budget set up, and I can see already here how that breaks down into what I actually have left available. And once I've saved this, then I get a really clear breakdown of what I have to spend per month, per week, and per day. And if we look at what that looks like in an actual week, let's say it's Thursday morning, I just woke up. I had quite a good Monday and Tuesday, but maybe went for a big dinner on Wednesday. You can see this small number here actually adapts every single day. So if, again, today, Thursday, I go out and I have a few drinks and I overspend again, then this number will become smaller for the rest of the week. And so this way, we've brought down the measurements to a period of time that most of us can keep track of. So you don't have to think of how you'll spend on the second of the month affects the 29th, but you bring it back down to the week. If we move over to the save section, this is where you can see both your cash savings as well as your trust bonds. So the way you can build up your cash savings for the purpose of then investing is you can set up your saving rules. And what we've done here is we've integrated with this really cool app called If This Then That, which allows you to integrate your Dozens app with, connect it with other apps so that you can save, say, £1 every time it rains in London towards a sunny holiday, or you can save every time someone tweets. But we've also set up some of our own saving rules. So if you want to save, let's say every time you use public transport at night instead of taking that Uber. And for those that want to do something a little bit more simple, we can also just set up automated monthly savings. Once those are set up, then you can also start earning interest on your savings here through your trust bonds. So you can see all of your active bonds. And then there's also a calculator where you can get a good sense of how much you'll get back for future bonds once you start investing. If we move over to the invest section, this is really for people who start thinking about their longer term goals. So we don't actually allow you to start investing unless you have 3 months worth of expenses set aside. And you go through a suitability and risk questionnaire to make sure that you only look into investments that are right for you wherever you are in life. So if you're ready to invest, you choose a goal that you're investing towards. You choose your target amounts, how much you have to invest today, and what you can add every month. And then we start taking you through your risk assessment. And for again, for a lot of investment providers, you'll have to go through a really complex questionnaire here. And we've tried to make this a lot simpler. And so we've created this Tinder-inspired risk questionnaire where you can just right swipe, left swipe your way through to understand what investments are right for you. And then once you get to the strategies, what's quite cool here is that all these strategies are thematic. So instead of getting a breakdown here of, say, your options are portfolio A, B, C, portfolio B has 30% cash, 40% ETFs or whatever, those terms don't mean a lot to most of us. And so we've chosen all of these portfolios that are related to something in real life, so that your investment maybe reflects your worldview and actually means something to you. And then once you've invested in this, whether that's clean energy or a certain region, like you can only invest in the UK, then you can just see whether your investments are on track or off track as well. So that if the market's not doing that well, you're always aware of whether your house or your tuition goals for the future are still in the right place. But for a lot of us, investing isn't necessarily the right way to go, and so there is always the 5% trust fund option. Of course, we also have a help section in the app. If anything ever shouldn't go right, you can write us an email or start a chat. But you can also actually call us. We've got some really lovely agents that sit in the UK that will help you with whatever your issue or query may be. And then we have a profile where you can see sort of the overview of your money. You can also get your statements and sort of the documents that are related to your investments. And then you also get the overview of your Savers Awards, which is one of my favorite parts of the app. It runs through the whole app and is basically our version or our approach to trying to reward you for saving instead of giving you cash back for spending. And the way it works is that you basically accumulate nominations for the Savers Awards without having to do anything by showing good financial behavior. And so in each section of the app, you can earn these nominations. In Spend, you get them if you stay on top of your transactions, which basically means you rate every one of your transactions as happy or unhappy spend. In Track, you get them if you stay under budget each week. And then in Save, you can earn nominations through getting some returns on your savings. And Investments, if those are on track, you get further nominations as well. And then once a month, a few people with the highest number of nominations will basically get £100 cash into their current account. And if we go back to Dozens Home, which again is what you can see now, this is really where the whole app comes together. And again, we've put a lot of thinking into how we could just make this really simple, because all of the fintech apps that have come up have been amazing with trying to simplify things, but often they mean that at the end of the day, you have to go and check your finances across 6 different apps. And we've tried to give you that overview in just one screen. So you can see how much is in your current account, how much you've got left to spend today, how much you've got left to spend this week, how much you've saved this month, including your interest, and whether your investment goals are on track. You can also see your nominations, some quick sort of analytics of your finances, as in your spending. And then you can also see sort of some financial education, again, coming back to looking to take you on this journey from being a spender to a saver to an investor. It all comes together in Dozens Home. And that is it. Thank you so much for watching.